See me walking up these stairs super slow. You know, it was a leg day. I'm going to the car. I'm actually going to walk home to go get the car. But I know this is Genius Take the Wheel, episode 261, but I'm going to be on foot. All right. Yeah, we both walking up the stairs slow. It's a leg day. I had a bad day. Yeah. I had to buy one of those Celsius because I just didn't feel it today at all. It's a pretty bad day. Yeah. I took non-stim pre-workout before I left the house, and I was just gonna thug it. I just kept yawning the whole time. Like I just wanted to like take a nap, go to sleep. Did you notice that the C4, the can of C4, they're charging $7 for it? I never buy that shit, but $7? He was like, "Yo, we got Celsius for 3." I was like, "That's more like it." I just need 200 milligrams of caffeine. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah. You, probably close to that right here, 7-Eleven. That's crazy. Well, maybe I'll do a horizontal pull tomorrow. Yeah, that's the thing. So this is something I talk about in my live stream a lot. Whenever the ladies want me to travel with them, the first thing they do is research bodybuilding gyms in the area. That's the first thing they do. So if they want me to get on the airplane with them or do the driving wherever road trip we're going, they know the first step is figure out what city we're going to, find out what a bodybuilding gym is. Because there is no, oh, I'm about to go on vacation. Like the games never go on vacation. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. A day off for me is like chest or back. That's the day off. I'll catch you. All right. So I wanted to get real quick. I want to talk about what I did in the gym today first before I get into this Diddy trial thing, where let's just say Diddy's expensive lawyers were 60% successful in their bid to get some acquittals. So we'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, let's do the autopsy of today's training while I beat my feet on my way home and all that. All right. Uh, so yesterday I had a spectacular chest day where I felt physically well beyond where I felt that I should have felt for where I am in my chest program. I kept my barbell bench press yesterday at the same level as before, but I was way more stable, way stronger, felt really super confident, had tons of energy, tons of positive uh, mental acuity. I added a rep to my dumbbell chest press at the 90 with the 90s, 4 sets of 7. I went up in weight on the chest machine. I think it's the Life Fitness version of the fixed chest machine seated. And then I hit the titty clapper for 4 sets of 11, 165. Went and hit the hanging dips, triceps dips, body weight only, 3 sets of 10. And then 1 set of 9, I failed on rep 10. In fact, on step 4, I didn't even attempt a 10th repetition. I knew I didn't have anything left. So yesterday felt about as great as today felt horrible. And so, um, hold on a second. I wanted to make sure wanted to be sure that the message that I sent out to somebody that would definitely want to hear my opinion on this Diddy do it thing. Uh, I wanted to make sure that that link got out there. So today was a pretty bad day in the gym. I have not felt this bad in the gym in a long time. Uh, Today I added a repetition. No, nope, I didn't add a repetition. I switched the order and I warmed up with the leg press, 225, 315, 405. Working sets were at 545. And I think I stayed at 7 reps apiece. So 2 sets of 7 at 545, and then switched over to uh, switched over from 545 to 495 for 2 more sets of 7. I added a repetition on the hack squat, 2 sets of 8 at 315, followed by 2 sets of 8 at 275. I felt very drowsy. I felt very negative going into today's training. I thought that, walking to the gym would kind of get me going. I took some non-stimulant pre-workout, and I, I took some non-stimulant pre-workout thinking that I would be able to get the energy that I needed, but warming up from walking, and it just didn't work. I felt terrible walking to the gym. I felt terrible when I arrived at the gym. Uh, it took me about 30 minutes to get through the warm up sets for the leg press because just mentally, and energy wise, it just wasn't there. I ended up buying a can of Celsius. I've never used Celsius before because it has a lot of questionable chemicals in it, but I really needed 200 milligrams of caffeine that didn't cost more than $3. And I was kind of desperate. So uh, it definitely helped me get to where I wanted to be energy wise. And I ended up getting through the working sets twice as fast as I got through the warm up sets. That's how bad I felt during my warm up. But the working sets actually worked really well. I was able to work slowly through my repetitions. So I didn't feel any discomfort in my quad, no discomfort in either knee. So that actually worked out pretty good. So next time out, I'm going to go for 6 of 8. Uh, the hack squat actually went easier because I changed my mental approach to it and my mechanics are better. So the hack squat is getting better for me. And that's that. I moved up in repetitions on the leg curl and the leg extension. 3 sets of 8 at 200 pounds on the leg curl, 3 sets of 8 at 205 on the leg extension. Everything was pretty sound at that point, but I definitely needed a stimulant boost just to be able to function. But mentally, it really doesn't make me feel good because I really try to cap my caffeine intake to just twice a week. And it looks like it's going to be at least a third time this week that I'm going to end up using a fairly high dosage of stimulant. but I got through it. No pain, no discomfort. My legs are a little bit tired, but everything is good. So today just wasn't my day. All right, now here we go. Uh, the jury deliberated. They took their sweet ass time deliberating. The judge sent them back to go deliberate some more. It was at that point I knew that the prosecution fucked up. I knew, usually I think the conviction rate for the feds is something like 96%. And they take a lot of pride in their conviction rate. So when they when the jury was taking this long to deliberate, I knew that there was some trouble in that jury room. And so earlier this morning, today being the 2nd of July, 2025, early this morning, the jury put in their verdict, and they came back with not guilty on the three most serious charges, and they came back guilty on the two lesser included charges of I guess transportation for the purposes of 304ing. And I guess it was pretty obvious that he would be found guilty on that. The thing that I found very interesting is that the prosecution is really, really salty. Of course, they want to try to spin it as they won because they got two convictions, but they want him to get uh, two consecutive 10-year sentences. They want him to get the max because he ported some gay for pay guys, put them on an airplane to watch him smash his girlfriend. Like I I I think that's a little bit much for those charges. I mean, if you get them on the racketeering or what have you, then that would be one thing, But I thought that the racketeering charge was an overstep to begin with. I just didn't think that that was an appropriate charge for them to put out there in the first place, because I mean, you have to prove that there was a criminal enterprise, and he's one horny ass man with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You know, it wasn't 1,000 men with one bottle of baby oil. That would have made more sense. Instead, it was one man with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. So it's going to be to convince any jury that you have a criminal, ongoing criminal enterprise just by yourself. And if they wanted to make that stick somehow, then they would have had to charge their star witness because Cassie was a really big part of what was going on. So, but we know that we can't paint women in our society as anything other than victims. So they ended up losing out on that charge. It's possible they could have made that charge stick if they were able to, piece together everybody that worked for Diddy or worked with Diddy to get these, baby oil infused freak offs to, basically reporting their freak offs all around the country. But they just could not add their star witness and society's latest darling victim, Cassie. Now, when I look at the charges that ended up not sticking, it sends a deeper message to me. Obviously, I think the jurors are probably going to end up getting book deals after all of this. and talking about, why they voted the way that they did. But, my speculation for now is that, um, I don't think that Cassie intended to ruin Diddy's life. I don't think that she intended for him to face any of these types of federal charges. I don't think that she intended to have him sitting in a federal detention center. She didn't intend for any of that stuff. She didn't care to destroy his life. What she wanted was the opportunity to become wealthy without working for it. And she failed as a singer. She failed in several other business ventures. And, she had already become accustomed to a luxury lifestyle. And it's really difficult to try to downgrade from that luxury lifestyle. And she's not a particularly uh, useful person to society in a way where she would always be able to make money off of talent or intelligence or hard work ethic. So she needed to find a way to get wealthy without working for it. And one of the ways that is very, uh, one of the ways that it is very effective is for a woman to claim that she's been victimized by a rich man and then sit back and collect the money. And, she was able to get Diddy to cough up, I think, $30 million, which, she was happy with. She was happy to get the 30 million, but I don't think that she believed that it would trigger a federal investigation. So when she actually had to get up there on the stand and say actually what really happened, then she had to reveal some things that, there was more evidence that was uncovered that kind of showed that they were in a DS relationship, a dominant submissive BDSM relationship, where if the same actions were taken by Sean Combs in a normal relationship, it's an open and shut case of abuse. But because they were in that DS type of dynamic, it is not clear to the jury if she was an actual victim or not. And, the preponderance of the evidence, you'll win in civil court with that. But beyond a reasonable doubt, you can't win with that in criminal court. And I think that that is pretty much kind of like the nail in the coffin for those charges. I think that the prosecution, I think that the prosecution relied very heavily on the sensibilities of the jurors being offended to the point where they would ignore a lot of the evidence that was right there to be seen. And they would just be shocked at the fact that, he was pulling on her hair in the hallway. And there were so many disgusting compared, this is the mindset of most people who don't understand BDSM and kink lifestyle, that they would just be like, oh, he's an abuser, open and shut case, guilty. But when more of the evidence kept coming out, it became very obvious that she was a very happily willing participant in the activities that she claimed that she was abused into consenting to. And so I just think that there was too much evidence. And, we haven't had too many of these cases actually go to a criminal trial. A lot of times these guys know that their public image is cooked when somebody claims that they did something to them But it was actually part of a dynamic. It was actually something that the woman consented to. There are a lot of women that like CNC, they like impact play, they like degradation. Again, there's a lot of things that people are into that is not talked about in mixed company. So I think that we kind of got a window into that, and I think that Cassie has just done women in westernized society around the world, has done those women a crazy disservice. And I it's really unfortunate. You can't consent to things and then retroactively revoke consent and claim to be victims all the time, and then think that people are not going to start seeing the scam for what it is. I think that the jury saw through the scam, and there have been other men who have been victimized by engaging in unorthodox, intimate experiences with women, and then having the evidence that comes from, usually in picture or video form, having that be used against them in some sort of criminal proceeding or in a civil proceeding against them. And I think that the door kind of came off of that. I think people are starting to see what that is for what it is. I'm still going to tell you guys out there that are out there meeting women, especially if you are not the most attractive guy, but you have a good amount of money that women are seeking to get access to, do not engage in physical conduct casually, because they don't have any emotional allegiances to you. They don't maliciously want to harm your life, but they will do whatever it takes to see their objective be met. And sometimes it is necessary to destroy your life in order for them to get the riches that they think that they can get from you. And that's one of the things. I've had false accusations made against me in the past. And in the last couple of those accusations, I recognize that the women that made these false accusations on purpose, they were not doing it maliciously to destroy me. They had other things to gain from making the false allegations that they made. The one that really stands out, when I was a trainer at a chain gym in the past, I gave a woman a heavily discounted personal training package, and she was, I guess, a fledgling medical professional, and she really couldn't afford it. So she had already burned through like 4 or 6 of the 10 sessions in the package, and she wanted to get a full refund so that she could have an easier time paying her bills. So she claimed that I said something inappropriate so that the company would just get scared and just give her money back, even though she was not entitled to a refund. Uh, that late in the game, she tried to twist something that I said to her before she bought the personal training package to make it seem like I was being inappropriate towards her, so she can get the $600 back that I guess, felt that she could not afford to spend in the first place. Now that could have destroyed my career, uh, and obviously it didn't, because the people there knew me better than that, than to speak inappropriately to a man or a woman in the workplace. They knew me better than that. Um, but she yelled and screamed as loud as she could. He victimized me. He victimized me 3 or 4 weeks ago before I bought the package, and they were able to see through that. But she didn't have a dislike for me, but she was ready to throw my life in the garbage to get her $600 back. And I from that experience, I realized that, sometimes people are so selfish that they will destroy anybody in their quest to get whatever they think that they want at any point in time. I don't think that Cassie intended to destroy Diddy's life at all. I just think that she wanted to be wealthy without working for it. And it, kind of touched off a federal probe that turned into criminal charges. Now, you know, all those bottles of baby oil could cost, Diddy 20 years. Now, I strongly doubt that the judge, when they go to sentencing, is going to give Diddy, 2 consecutive 10-year terms because he put some gay for play guys on an airplane and then did a and brought some baby oil to another state. I just don't believe they're going to do that. But I do believe that there is going to be some sort of penalty that he's going to pay, where he might spend maybe another year and a half behind bars, possibly, because you don't get good time in the feds. I think they're going to take a lot of that time that he's already spent locked up. They're going to take, they're going to take that into consideration. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting sentenced to, let's say, 2 years for each count run concurrently. That's my expectation. I would love to see if I'm right. I really do think that he's going to end up getting 2 concurrent 2-year terms for the charges that he was convicted on, and he'll be, out and in the streets and reunited with all of his bottles of baby oil very soon. That's my expectation. Of course, in the comment section, you guys can let me know what you think will be the outcome of the sentencing. So I'm just kind of throwing my hat in the ring. 2 concurrent 2-year sentences, uh, basically sentence of time served. That's my expectation on that. So you guys let me know what you think. I got some other stuff that I got to do. So I am going to probably see you guys on Sunday when I go through another leg day that will hopefully go better than the last two. uh, much love to all y'all, and you guys have a good one. Peace.